Okay, how's everybody doing? So I just gave you a little bit of a pan there of the progress so far. I call this a midweek update. A lot of time I've been putting in, a lot of thought. Um, if you're not thinking things through maybe and you just want to cover ground, then, you can cover a lot of ground. Everything has its own unique approach. Each individual approaches their model railroad the way they see fit. And as most of you know, this is more of a diorama, an operating diorama than just a traditional layout. And what I mean by that is there's a really strong emphasis on detail and prototype subject matter. But you can see that, I'll take you a walk just along and tell you some of the things that I've done. Just jump off the tripod here. This scene here where you first walk in obviously is, the feature scene that I walk in and see each morning, which I was, the primary feature of the whole layout is, the barge slip. And as some of you know, there's enough room for a facade, like a section of a ferry to come in here, which is all that matters to me because it'll be ultimately viewed from this angle, so you won't see the back of the ferry, and here you'll see the front of it. So that's already established. And just so you know, I won't be painting this for a while yet because there's other, like, everything takes a number in this game for planning. And as you know, this comes out so I can do the shoreline over on this side here. That'll be next because I've pretty much covered this, roughed this in. Still needs more work. The breakwater here and a bit of a reef. Now there is, like, if you look at Google Earth, you'll see the reef. The actual reef, man-made reef, is this sort of big rectangular shape. Would come out to here where my hand is. And so this is where artistic license comes in. Like, I can model low tide here, so this is just sort of a lot of sand and sort of, I wouldn't say seaweed, but fresh water probably, and salt because of the Fraser that's tidal 50 miles upriver from here. So you get a mix of growth and features of rock and sand, which I'm trying to represent here as accurately as I can. So the barge approach here slips in and out nice, just the way I intended and planned it to be. So I can take this out, like I say, and still model. And then here's where the pavement's going to be. It'll be probably, like blacktop, but of a weathered nature. That'll be moving into pretty soon. I just want to get the beach kind of scene finished here in the sand, and maybe just talk about some of the products that I've used here. So when it comes to doing scenery, if you want to have a unique look, you got to be willing to do the work, right? Like this is all just crushed gravel that I scooped up from the edge of a site here, like in town where I live. Like you just walk around and look around. Like if you want to just buy everything, well then I get that, but you're not going to get this this kind of material from your hobby store. So, and it's free if you're willing to just take a coffee can or something with you with a big spoon and just and then dry it out and then sift it out. Like this was laid on in 3 or 4 layers, I think. I'm still working it a bit, you know. And then this here is coarse pumice gel by Golden. I'll show you that in a second. I want it to be a little bit more coarse here, and then I'm going to build up sand, which I found an old can of aluminum oxide abrasive. You can get it from Sandblasting Supply. Really fine oxide, which I'll show you. It just makes beautiful sand. I've had it for a long time, and I was planning on using it, and I really like some of the results over to the right here. So yeah, this is crushed rock, and this is all laid in with really good quality matte medium. You can see how hard it is. Like it's just one big sculpture now, right? Which was laid over the foam and then soaked, sprayed down, and then diluted. Like some of it pooled up down here, which I just sponged away, but I put a fan on it overnight, and it's just rock hard. Really like that. Yeah, love that matte medium. This was the first section I did. I was going to do a plug here. You can see the line here, but I'm going to fix this up because I decided to just fix it all in because there's one switch machine, but I can get at it easy enough from under here. So so you can see the different rock that I used, and I'm glad I didn't go with this because it's a little bit too rounded, more like a river stone maybe. See, stone is unique, right? You know, just look for stone. Like it's all out there. It's all free. You just got to find the right kind and then sift it with cheap flour sifters and screens. But I'm going to fix this up a bit more so it looks more like this. This is the look I like more. And then this will get washes on it and some paint work, even though I really like this color. But the prototype is more of a light color. But that looks pretty good, right? But I don't like to leave things raw. I like to paint them. But we'll see. I'll put some thin washes on there so I can maintain some of the, you know, the random diversity of that color there, which I really like. This has got more of a river rocks brown, sort of an umber color to it. So this is all raw. Okay, so here's the sand, which is this stuff right here. Aluminum oxide abrasive from a Badger airbrush gun I had from years ago. I never did really use that stuff. I used to use a little bit of it back in the day, but I had a few cans. But I think you can get it under different names from the Sandblasting store if you look it up. It's really fine stuff. And then like this is the coarse pumice gel right here. And then I laid in the sand, the abrasive, and I wetted it down again, spray ball. Just put it on dry with a brush, moved it around, patting it down with my finger, and then I sprayed it, and then I dribbled in diluted matte medium, and it comes out just hard, beautiful. Man, this is really nice stuff. This will look really good along the edge where it might be semi-wet. You know, so I'm going to work with that because I really like that color too, and just the way that turns out, you know. So this is sort of the shoreline along the river disappears here. And then what I used here was coarse molding paste like this here. Like I like these two here, fiber paste and coarse molding paste by Golden. They're just fantastic products. If you're into this kind of work, you really need to experiment with some of this product. And if there's quite a bit of it around, and if you're going to, these two you really can't go wrong. Or actually, these 3 you can't, out of the 15 that there is. I'll tell you, this is really good for doing tree trunks and concrete. And this is too, it has a like a sandy texture. Okay, this is more of a fibrous texture, but it's still really cool though when you learn to move it around with a bit of water, let it dry, and you can just work with it for quite a while. And then here's the foam, and someone asked about that. Like I just sealed it with matte medium, and then I used this golden titanium white, really high quality acrylic paint. It's got a ball bearing in it, you know, so you get a ball bearing for your money too. But you can pour this right into an airbrush straight from the bottle, or use a traditional brush, and it covers just excellent. Okay, so that's what I use just on this section right here. I haven't done this yet. This is matte medium, so, and then this will get painted eventually too. Okay. And then there's a couple of culverts. There's two at the prototype location. I'll talk about this one first. This is a bit of a salmon tributary. There's, as you know, in British Columbia, there's tens of thousands of salmon tributaries that are protected by fisheries. So if you develop anywhere, excuse me, you have to fund or pay to have the tributary preserved, you know, whatever it costs. So if you want to develop on it, and they run, excuse me, they run through industrial districts. In fact, we have one where I grew up in my home in Vancouver that ran down our driveway, which was covered over with gravel and stuff. And then further down in the park down by the beach, you can see it, you know, so. Yeah, so I just wanted to sort of create this sort of culvert, sort of not really a fish ladder, but, you know, enough water would move through this. And then you can see where it trickles out here, you know, through the sand, right? I wanted to create that, you know, like low tide kind of look. But imagine during spring runoff and in the fall rains, like this would move a lot of water. And salmon would be able to get up there, no problem. So. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that in there. And then you can see this is Celluclay, which is actually fast mash. It's the same thing, which is another modeler's best friend along with the foam. This stuff is actually really underrated. I know a lot of modelers use it. Like I believe Grant likes to use it a lot too at Southern Alberta Rail, the big N scale layout he has. He likes to use it as well. I've used it since I was a kid, you know, when I first discovered it, paper mache, right? But this is beautiful stuff, my goodness. Like you can do similar stuff with this fast mash as you can with, you know, these mediums here too by Golden, right? Okay. Excuse me. And then here's another little culvert pipe that I did. The first one I did was like this one here, which I didn't like. It was too modern looking. But, you know, I slept on it, woke up the next day and said, no, this is out. And I did this based on a photo. And I really like it because it's sort of broken up. And then I added this sort of service road in here and wanted to maybe suggest that, you know, four-wheel drives maybe come down here. And this has been all eroded from just age and from driving over it. You know, that kind of thing. So I really like the way that looked out because it's a feature in the foreground that catches the eye, and then, you know, the road pulls you up into the scene here. And as you know, this is you know, the scene that I did last week. There's some ties and rail and tie plates. I have a little mini tutorial. I can show you how I made the tie plates if you want. So these little tie plates I made from number 114, 15 thou by 80 thou by Evergreen scale models. I just marked 3/16 increments, and I just take a dental pick. In this case, I took my little sanding stick and put an extra point on it. And I just, you know, made up just one strip. It didn't take long. Just punched 4 holes, just randomly, just eyeballed them in, right? Just to suggest tie plates, you know. It'll look like a rivet on the other side, and then it'll look like an indentation on this side. So I'll just scatter those in a pile and touch it with the airbrush and throw a wash on it, and pin wash if you like, and you got some little tie plate details, right? And then this carries over. Like I say, this is like I like to do things in 20-inch sections. You know, this is 20 inches by 8. You know, postage stamp scene. This is a term I use, 20 inches by 8. So that's where I'm at right now. I've been working pretty hard and picking up momentum, actually, which I'm really excited about. I'm really getting into the groove again. You know, once you settle in and you plug in, it takes a while, but, you know, it starts to come together, right? And I'm really liking the way the scene is developing. Just a few notes on the prototype. Like, on the prototype, this breakwater here is way longer. Like, it would run straight but way down to here. There's no way I'm going to do that. You can't model the prototype and then have it be practical, right, when you don't have a lot of space. So, but I've added compression here, and it's worked out well. Like even the barge slip is compressed a little bit, and it fits the scene, right? This footprint, which I really like. And, there's a little more compression that begins along here, right? And then what I want to really do is have the waterfront scene like this, and I want it to transition into the more sort of rural. I mean, the shops will be down here in the end, but Module C might be where, I might redo a grain elevator scene there, just to suggest, because SRY runs basically from the river waterfront all the way out to Chilliwack. It's about 100 miles long, short line, okay? So there's a nice little midweek update for you. And things are developing and evolving nicely. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. Stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you want. Thank you for all the support on the channel, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers.